Doesn't the Bible just say what it means? Aren't the words enough? Why do we care about the context? Why do we care about the history? I get that question all the time. The reality is, the people in the biblical world and Jesus himself are speaking to a particular group of people at a particular time and a particular place. That doesn't mean that the Bible doesn't speak to us also, but how we use the Bible really matters. And so we need to understand first, what was Jesus trying to say to his own people? Once we understand what Jesus was trying to say to his own people, once we understand what Matthew and Luke wanted those that they were writing for to get about Jesus' message, then we can begin to say, how is our life similar to what's going on in the ancient world? And what then can we understand from what Jesus is saying? And how do we apply that to our life? Because, it's clear, the ancient world did not have laptops. The ancient world did not have cell phones. It didn't have television or radio. It didn't have all of the things we take for granted. But it did have political corruption. It did have oppression. It did have the poor. It did have famine and disease. And Jesus speaks to those sorts of issues. Jesus touches those whom his society considers unclean. Jesus lifts up those his society considers to be dishonorable. And then we can begin to turn and say, well, what about us? If we're going to be disciples of Jesus, who are the unclean in our society? Who are the dishonorable in our society? What might it mean to follow Jesus in the way that Jesus intended in the 21st century? So that's why it matters to think about more than just the words. And the gift of doing the Beatitudes this year, after doing 2 studies on huge books, Revelation to John is enormous, Joshua is enormous. This year we only are covering 13, 14 verses at most. And so we really get to dig down into what are the words, what's going on behind these words, and then how do we apply these words to us? So the Beatitudes, in some ways right now, is a breather for us from these great big studies we've been